How do you build this local-global work together? How do you pull that together? And local in this instance being the United States.
And local, sorry?
Local in this instance being the United States.
Wow. Just building on the previous conversation, and particularly the conversation from Cynthia about women advising other women, even looking at the global versus local divide is another divide and another silo, if you like, coming from your question. And what I would have contributed there was that for all the trainings, for all the experience, for all the skills that we hope we impart, the strongest learnings that women always get and the most power they always get is from their peers. So we have learned one of the really important things to do is that if we have trained elected women representatives in, say, Rajasthan, rather than just leaving them in their own local villages to sort of then try to manage the best they can, we are putting a lot of effort into bringing those elected women on a statewide basis together. And I was lucky enough to see that at work. And that was a really powerful meeting where it's not quite at the level we were just talking, but you know, these women from this village in a remote area of Rajasthan, Western Rajasthan, who would never meet people from this village over here in Southern Rajasthan, were actually realizing that they had common goals and common aspirations, common ways of getting together, learning from each other. So I think that what you were talking about, which is learning from each other, is, you know, something that women do really well. And, you know, it's just such a central part. So even the global versus local, I think what I would see there is not looking at the divide, just as the example I've just given, which is local women learning from local women. Then we would hope, you know, regional women learning from regional women, and, you know, you sort of move up. But I think it's a fantasy in a way to really think that we can connect global versus local, because the thing that, in a very sort of pragmatic way, because the thing that brings people together is sharing common experiences. And I'm not sure how the people that you're talking about here, the local women of the US, beyond really feeling that they want to participate in a world and build a better future for their children by helping people leave poverty and hunger behind them, that they don't want to leave that sort of world to their children. I'm not sure how we can connect them, I guess, because I think that it's not enough just to have the philosophy. You do need to have a meaningful dialogue, and that comes from sharing similar stories, similar issues, you know, at whatever level you are talking about. But having said that, of course, there is lots of things that can be done as long as that consciousness is there. So, you know, if people felt that they really did want to protest that America at last should achieve its 0.7% of ODA going to relieve poverty, wow, that would be a great thing. I mean, we're looking at ODA reform. I recently saw a table, for example, where it had the top 10 countries receiving development assistance from America and the top 10 poorest countries in the world. And I think there was a commonality of 2 countries.
Does everyone know what ODA is?
Sorry, official development assistance. So where your money is going from USAID is not necessarily going to where you think it's going. Well, and I mean, just building on that, a lot of military, we talked about militarization before, a lot of course, military aid is actually now being classified as well as development assistance. And I've got a real problem with that in particular, because I think that, you know, you just set up such huge uncertainties and ambiguities. If one moment that person in that military uniform looks like he's actually helping out at the local grain silo, and then tomorrow he's participating in a military action because they suspect whatever, that you're hiding terrorists. You can't do that to people. I just think it's hopeless. So that's a very long-winded way to saying that I suppose that I think that there are lots of common issues, but direct links, not necessarily strive for those, but think of ways that you can connect.